Now let's see. No burn skill here either. This is always one of the ones that I think is trickiest to decide between. It's Kenai and Final Dose. Because Final Dose can be a real struggle if you don't find any poison. But Kenai is a lot weaker. I think I am willing to take Kenai though, because it works with both burn or with
Discounts for peace.
other alternatives.
Fascinating.
I'll buy this. Yeah. Moon's in the other room. It permeates through. Let's see. Banana ball as usual, I think. I don't actually know. If you have seaweed, does it ever beat Viper in fatigue? I'm unsure. I've never tried that particular line. But this is the benefit of the Kenai start, is that it enables things like playing Trebuchet with Sextant quite well. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. So you're saying that the Seaweed has bad timing in Sandstorm on the first one with 7 seconds. So you actually die before it gets the last proc off. That checks out, I can believe that. Let's go small items, see what we can find. Both Zarakrid and this hand axe I'm quite willing to play. I'm usually not super excited about the Mantis Shrimp. So this is kind of gearing me up towards potentially doing something Trebuchet related. And with this lineup, I'm hasting the lighter, which hastes the Zarakrid back, and I'm just hoping that between that and Seaweed, it might do it. Unfortunately, my opponent has a catfish, which is concerning. But maybe Seaweed just carries. We're getting crits with the bronze Seaweed. They won. Well, now we do have haste on the Seaweed, so maybe with some luck, the timing in Sandstorm could be a bit better. I think we need this hit to crit to win, and that hit didn't crit, so we lose. Yeah, from the looks of it, we probably tied if that last hit crit, but hey, we were expecting to lose against Poison on day one. No, I wouldn't mind having a poison of my own, and that's actually quite a good one to get. Now a burn skill would be perfect, but I think since I did just find poison guaranteed, now I'm willing to take this one poison skill.
She's wonderful.
Large items can be the trebuchet. It's always a little bit iffy rolling here. But the switchblade isn't entirely bad. So I think I'm just supposed to, like, pick up some passable weapons and just make sure that we have no issues against the Rogue Scrapper, and also that we have them around for the potential Etherite on the next fight as well. And with the jellyfish and the Zaracrid, what I'm typically looking to go into, especially now that I do have the crit, is that this is a very good trebuchet pivot, but I do need to find the trebuchet to be able to do that.
Was that even a battle? Maybe a skirmish.
And this is the last exp that I need to ensure the level up. It's pretty standard play. Now, here I'm going to make a very power-based play. I think what I need the most is I need the jellyfish to be able to get perma haste here. Yeah, I think that's like my #1 priority here, is to make sure that the jellyfish is just as hasted as possible. And the way to do that is to upgrade it, because the haste goes from 1 second to 2 seconds, which is really impactful. And I think if there's any shot of me winning this fight, it's from the jellyfish carrying. With the same logic, we're not gonna hold this. Like, we're just sending it to give us the best odds of winning. Yeah. This looks fine. We're playing the repair bot as well.
My fight isn't with you, but if you insist.
A Pygmalion is usually a good sign, because they don't tend to have a super fast clock on this day, unless... It is Matchbox, but it's a bronze skill, not a starting skill, so it's not entirely hopeless. But without any shielding, we're probably not going to succeed in doing that. No, they have too much healing as well. It's unfortunate we haven't found any burn ourselves, so we will lose that one. But as you can see, the jellyfish was hasted, and a lot of the time all you can do is just give yourself all right odds to win if your opponent has a bad board. Pearl would have been really good. I'm not sure we would have actually won anyways, just with the sheer difference there, but it's possible.
Whoever said money can't buy class.
I'm picking up the cannonball, because we do still have a primordial depth charge angle. I do really badly want at least some amount of health here. Got to repress some good ammo-based stuff. Hey Livian, you just woke up, I'm guessing? Nice, nice. Hopefully you got some alright sleep. We're doing some Vanessa gaming today. We had a really sick Arbalest game earlier. But now we're doing... Well, it feels like we're angling towards a possible trebuchet board. But that would rely on me actually finding the trebuchet. Hammer is pretty good here, because Zaracrid is also a fairly neat thing to duplicate.
I'll keep honing my skills. Next time, I might surprise you.
Here I do think I want, yeah, burn skill. I think this is correct. It makes it so that I'm really powerful if I find the vents at some point. Go for a risk. We did a lot of mobs. I think with this amount of healing and poison, there's even a decent chance that we can beat this guy. Because we do have enough pressure to keep his shield down, and then hopefully the poison can finish him off. But, like, they made this mob so scary when they just keep buffing Ganjo. So, out of all of the ones that I could face here, it's definitely not the one that I'm the most confident against. But we have a lot of poison, so maybe? I don't think it's quite gonna get there. Oh, okay, we beat him. Holy. That's pretty great. That's so much exp, and I think we really like needed that right about now. Left-handed could come in clutch. It also lets us potentially pivot this into single weapon stuff, like we could be ending up in... Okay, so here, for this fight, with left-handed on it especially, I'm just going to spend this to upgrade it, because it means that it's perma-hasting the lighter, which in turn doubles the speed that it's charging itself. It'll also make sure that I do have the perma-haste on the jellyfish, though at that point, I think I'd want the perma-haste on the... It won't quite be perma-haste on the seaweed, but we'll have a lot of haste on the seaweed, and we'll still have good haste on the jellyfish. So I think this is the angle to, like, maximize our output against this
You should
Pygmalion.
know, I'm a bit of a legend on Pelago.
If they have, like, burn starting skill matchbox, we're screwed regardless, but... that is a burn item, but maybe it's not insurmountable. It looks like he's a bit slow to start and doesn't have a ton of health, so I think we're okay. Yeah, he's just not fast enough. It's pretty scary with a fiery tusked helm with a grindstone and a chapeau, but not fast enough. And this is why we reorganized our board to play around having good haste uptime on the most important things. Now I'm really gonna want to start looking for mediums, because Vents is a massive upgrade with Fiery, and we also do want that depth charge if possible. So I think I am willing to already start investing in powder keg here, because the thing is, when we're running this kind of haphazard board, 30% of their max health is already a relatively substantial amount. And if I just find any way of improving that number, this could be a winning line. I think I just want the best gold. So I do also think it's close. I would like to run this with this if I could, but I don't think I quite can, so we'll just run it like this instead. It's still more burn, like it makes this faster, it matters.
The deep
Marinara sauce.
this dusty world.
I'm a bit of a fan for the powder keg, but one of the big reasons for it is because it's one of the only reliable ways that Vanessa has in the game currently to combat late game Pygmalion. And as you could see last run, we ran into a lot of late game Pygmalion that just was too big for us to be able to kill him with sniper rifle. Keg has no such weakness. And we got it before our level 7. So it is a very real possibility that we can just say, like, this is what we're doing now. And if so, I do think... I think to that end, we are willing to pick left eye here.
I hope we can do this again.
Yes, you can enchant Keg with Radiant, and then it can't be destroyed. If you have if you have ammo burn on your depth charge, that's actually a really good way of chain casting Keg. And I think we lose a bit of damage here, but I'm just gonna say it's 30% and we just win if we hit it, probably. And we're just trying to not lose... We're just trying to not fall too far behind by the point that our comp has come together. And the main thing we're looking for is any combination of dive ways, or beam vents, ammo burn skill. I'd probably even be willing to run weather glass in this kind of line, because we just need ways to make the powder keg go off, and we'll be able to put both upgrades and all of that on it. Man, I'm actually starting to feel like it's gotten considerably worse to pick the loot option now, since it can give you truffles, and they're like usually a complete brick, basically. Because I keep getting truffles, and like, yeah, I do get more gold than the other options, but it's like, it's not good. I don't know. I will say, Keg is also very nice just because, like, even when you don't crit, it does a lot of work against PvE encounters like this one. Like, the threshold that you need to beat to actually get your delicious exp is just not that high. I don't think we're ever going to be able to run Bulldozer, even though it's funny.
Well,
It is certainly funny. But yeah, now we're just getting a lot of exp. I'd be very happy to get, you know, Sextant with all of this crit. Or maybe Vanessa's Amulet, of course. We probably won't be wanting to run Pet Rock. But yeah.
Now this will inspire the crew.
Yeah, we do record this evening. The recording session for the podcast will be in 5 hours, approximately. Tools. Tools can give us dive weights, which is really important. But I value exp so much because we have a build that scales really well, but we also have to get to the point where the build does the thing. And this Blunderbuss is actually not a bad roll at all, because if I do get that burn... Oh, do I run Trebuchet for a little bit? Yes, Trebuchet is still another way of just applying burn for us, so it looks pretty realistic to be able to run it here. And we're probably going with this variety of trebuchet, where I'm just cutting out these things that don't really matter. I'm keeping the bolas in because it's a non-insignificant amount of extra burn on the mantis shrimp, and then we're mostly just using the jellyfish with fast triggers on lighter to be our kind of aquatic core here. Yeah, no, as Walter was saying, truffles kind of went from being one of the best items to one of the worst, and now they're just kind of annoying. I didn't utilize them that much on this character, but they were still at least like something before. I think this looks good. We have some burn. We're always mainly just hoping that the keg crits, and then if the keg crits, then we win. But even if it doesn't, like, we're decently strong. And this kind of stuff is why we do need to do it this way, because very quickly we're gonna start going into boards that threaten to kill us very fast. And see, if that had been a 1 in 3 crit, we would have won. And also, if they had missed their 40% crit, we would have also won. So overall, I think we were actually favored in that fight. Now let's see, it's these 3 that I need to keep around, but I also need to keep this one around. I don't think I need to pick another dock, so I'm just willing to sell out of this stuff. Because I do need health now. Okay, now there's a lot of things that matter. Weatherglass over Trebuchet, I think is correct. Ramrod is also a little bit funny, but I don't think that does anything meaningful.
I'm so glad we could share this experience today. Use that for the good.
The main thing about picking Weatherglass here is that it does also give me the possibility of, if I just find the Yeti Crab, I can run that as well. Then we're looking decently solid. The main thing I'm looking for, of course, is just more means of critting on the powder keg.
Pathetic. As spineless as a jellyfish.
And this is how we get crit. Yeah, you just gotta call it. Now we're looking very solid. I did say I wasn't gonna pick docks again. Let's see. I think I like the health here, and this is another means of getting more crit. We're definitely not gonna need that one at this point. Because now it's just a race towards getting this to high enough crit, and then enchanting it, and we've got our late game.
Go ahead. Underestimate.
I would definitely put in dive weights with ammo burn with this holsters over the Weatherglass, but that just kind of depends on us finding it. Obsidian dock lines with Shadowed Cloak is quite a funny combination here. They have a lot of health, but we have the keg, so hopefully that was good enough. We didn't get the crit, but... And this is the nice thing, this is why I like keg. I think it's really easy to underestimate when you're playing burn comps. If you're playing burn and the enemy has 40% less max health, like that already gives you such a real chance at just walking it out. And you can just hit Forja from Mysterious Portal and just put that on the cake, that's an option. That's a thing you can do. I'm kind of paying for my choice to sell. Sort of paying for my choice to sell the star chart, but oh well, I'll kind of stand by it. Yeah, you gotta have the day 7 diamond keg. Why do you think I buy it? That's the real reason everyone streams, is just to get that streamer client. Like the #1 feature. And then of course when we get to 10, we can put a nice enchant on it, and then we're looking pretty good. I think at this point I'm probably supposed to have it this way around too. We don't really need to care about max haste on the jellyfish while we don't have the trebuchet. And this is our freeze item. Which I'm guessing goes in over the shrimp. We don't really care about the shrimp anymore. We care a lot more about just having the most procs on Weatherglass. Now, do we just pump more health? Like, I think we kinda do. Middle can't have anything that's a super meaningful upgrade other than like a few crit items, but we're much more looking for, yeah, Kina. We want Vanessa's amulet, ideally.
Decide your deathstruments. You are enough, friend. But I'm glad you bought this.
Holster's upgrade is pretty huge. Every point in holsters is like what makes us accelerate our start later in the game.
You should know, I'm a bit of a legend on Pelago. I may be young for a captain, but I've seen my share of storms.
What are they running? Let's see. A 2 multicast flagship? I don't quite know about that one. I mean, I kinda see it. It's sort of like their reload for the... Like, the flagship does enable both of these cards. It's just that you're running a pretty bad flagship to enable 2 cards that aren't that good either. And yeah, we're starting to win some 50-50s. Feeling good about that. I'm willing to just fish. Okay, Diamond Captain's Wheel. That'll certainly put in work with a lot of things that I could find. Okay, now this is the real question, is am I willing to take poison on the powder keg? So the really good enchants are Burn is better than Poison, Obsidian is the best one, and Radiant would work really well what we have as well. However, on the flip side, if we get slow or haste, it's a massive low roll, and getting crit would be good temporarily, but then fall off pretty steeply.
You know we're on an important mission, right? Overthrowing tyrants, liberation...
Well, so that basically means there are only really 2 options that are worse. Yeah, we can cut the jellyfish if we put poison, which also does matter. This is a tough one. Definitely a tough one. Poison works well if they had like I don't know, is it above average? Like let's actually have a proper look at powder keg. So heavy, icy, turbo, shielded and restorative are worse. Fiery, shiny, deadly, radiant, and obsidian are better. So yeah, I guess technically, but if you don't count icy, yeah, if you don't count icy or shiny, yeah, there's like it's slightly too bad otherwise. The biggest problem is that shielded is linear. Shielded doesn't scale with the damage dealt. If shielded scaled with the damage dealt, I would have actually been a lot more willing to do it. And if we get slow burn here, I'm quite happy because then we can cut the jellyfish for camera later. Well, so 3k poison on enemy. The problem with okay, so Radiant specifically is better because if you get dive weights on aquatic with ammo burn, which I have ended up in that spot previously, you can double proc it very quickly. And if they have an extra life, then you get there really quickly. But if they have an extra life and you have poison, there's a very real possibility that because the poison has to tick for 10 full seconds, you're probably not getting there if it's, say it's Medical Tents Pygmalion, for example. So I do think that if you're in aquatic specifically, it's correct to value Radiant higher. But at the same time, and like my big issue with Poisonous is mainly the fact that when you this doesn't solve that many additional scenarios. This does solve them having quick shielding or them having what's it called, defense grid or something. So there are scenarios where you do benefit from having the toxic powder keg, but there are also some scenarios where it doesn't really help you. Docklines is like ish an upgrade for now.
I can feel our energies
It's
resonate.
cheap enough. Yeah, exactly. You can play small burn items like pop snappers to go off twice when you
We're out
have
to
the
defraud the
radium.
king, not to squabble with nobodies. I may be young for a captain, but I've seen my share of storms.
But this is still like, it's not bad. Like, it definitely does do meaningful things. Well, Sixten, the difference here is, so he said, to quote a famous Italian chef, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. If we had dive weights plus depth charge, Radiant would be better, but we don't. That's kind of the thing, right? Like, we're playing a late game build. We know we have to win another 6 days, and in the lead up, anytime where we lose a 50-50 like this, the amount of games that we need to win just gets steeper and steeper. And having a guaranteed out later on is pretty much like what makes us able to guarantee those final wins. Let's see. Slow poison matters sometimes. What else does Old Sane have? So right now, I think it would just look like this, because the holsters don't actually matter that much yet. We just care about having the full crit. Let's see. Ryokon's weapon skills could give me like weapon crit. Does old Zane have much left in the ways of like crit? I don't think so. So Walter said that poison enchant in general consistently overperforms for him, especially versus pig. The thing is that I do believe, and Sixten brought up toxic on force field. I think that's a whole different story. Because the thing that is different about toxic on force field is that you can never say with absolute certainty that force field fully kills the opponent in one hit. And this is why you have to think different about Keg. Keg deals 100% of their maximum health when it goes off. So the thing you have to ask yourself is, if I'm asking the question, can you survive 100% of your health being dealt approximately like 4 seconds into a fight? The things that make someone answer yes is oftentimes extra lives. And if you're playing a late game scaling build where you're expecting that you'll probably need to win several fights in sequence, while also not having any extra lives to rely on, it means that a lot of the time you can't confidently say, I'll be able to win 4 in a row without a single person having a rebirth effect. Especially with tents being in the game. I've been seeing a decent amount of Tent Pygmalion. And against most Tent Pygmalion boards, dealing this amount of poison to them, 10% of their max health, is not going to be sufficient, because it depends a bit on what their win condition is. But there are many things that they can play which kill you before 10 seconds have passed. So that's like the main thing that I'm always worried about. Like, if you have Obsidian, it's the best for obvious reasons, because it just means that early shielding like never beats you. But Radiant is like the only thing that actually beats you, or that beats people having revives. Walter said, I think I'm more likely to face a huge fixer shield than a rebirth, and I agree that Tense is present.
You know we're on an important mission,
Yeah,
right?
like it depends a little bit. The main thing for me is that with the changes to Fixer Upper should oftentimes be slower than us. And the main thing is that a lot of the time we do also go off twice, even against like Fixer Upper. I've had setups where I would have been able to go off 3 or 4 times within the first 10 seconds of the match. And at that point, I'm dealing 400% of their max health instead of 200% max health. But I do agree, I did eventually settle on poison being good enough, so it's not like that's wrong either. Now this is the trickier one, like which skill would you all choose here? I'm not quite certain. I'm leaning towards like weapon gets me weapon crit potentially, which is like maybe the best thing I can do to fix where my board is at currently, maintain some health. But lethal injection or slow poison would be pretty good too. On freezes. Zane because his button is shinier. Yeah, I think Wriggle has the best options for
I'm a
us.
professor of the toxic art.
Need to sell
Must be a hold
something.
of my coin purse.
We're pretty far off from Blunderbuss being relevant. This is interesting. It's probably thick burn because it makes weatherglass self-charge. But it could also well be toxin injector because with Clamra it makes us go off a lot faster. No, it's gonna be toxin injector, I think. We have ways to make it trigger at the start of combat. And the fact that it charges both of these just matters a lot. Let's get some more gold, because I have a feeling we might well end up needing it for just like a Nufu shop or something. Here's the Clamra, which we do want now. It's a big bolus upgrade.
Pathetic. As spineless as a jellyfish.
Yeah, so the question is whether or not it matters to haste Keg at 1.5. I think I do have to get middle, because having any additional crit is too big of an upgrade. I think I am supposed to be willing to buy this just for the... Like, the damage won't matter much, but just having 10% extra crit can, like, decide our run here. We're never gonna have to put that back in. Let's put this here.
Oh, I think you're really gonna enjoy that.
I guess Soracrid doesn't matter very much anymore. Since, like, the haste is kind of past its relevancy. We're an all-in keg build now. Yeah. No, this is interesting too. Whether Insect Wing goes on Powder Keg or Weatherglass. I think... So this one hastes it 10 times. So, based on that logic, I think on this will matter more, because we need to get it low enough that the Weatherglass always makes it go. Rather than making the glass go faster. You think it's just glass? So right now, it's at... This one hastes for 2 seconds. So this one will go off at 5 seconds currently. And at 5 seconds, this one's ticked for 7 seconds plus 2 lighter procs, which puts it at 11. Yeah, okay. I just had to do the math on it. It does... It should go when glass goes, and if it doesn't, it goes on the next lighter procs. It's fine this way.
My fight isn't with you, but if you insist.
Now here we go. This is pretty much the dream, right? We just need to not miss the actual 1%. Okay, good. Oh, blessed keg. Sixteen, you were saying I'm such a fiend for powder keg? Well, here's your reason why.
I am does not. At the edge of the foundation, they wait, they build.
Now, this is interesting. Do any gold skills matter, or are we just maxing the uptime on the holsters? Yes, skills matter, because we can get the fire injector skill. That's the answer.
Power, but he can never surpass me in years.
Lifesteal on that is kind of funny. We're never freezing in time. I think chemical fire is like the most likely to matter. But those are all like just low rolls. Yeah, Sexton was saying he's becoming a keg believer now because it's an antidote to Pygmalion, which he supports. And that basically is the thing, because it's fairly well known that in the really late game parts of the Bazaar, the thing that starts to become the most threatening is the possibility of running into a Pygmalion. Let's see, it's just this, right? Like, the bolas still go at 2.5. I know this is faster. Let's see. But yeah, like, late game, the biggest question that you always have to answer always becomes, how does my build beat Pygmalion? And this is one way of saying, well, if my build scales with their health, then I beat Pygmalion. Adira is good, he just has many hits. We can never go down to 5, I don't think, or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we're never cutting 2. So we're rolling. Well, this was a little bit awkward. Like, I think it's hotspot because it can sometimes matter. Like, it matters when we are overcapped on crit and we can run this left side. Basically. And it can also let us potentially go faster by playing diveways with the holster. Big guns? Why? We're not running any large, and we don't have any larges to pivot into. It was the not the double weapon damage, but the double large item weapon damage. Yes, so this doesn't work now, but in the next fight, we don't need left eye on powder keg anymore. And when I don't need left eye on powder keg anymore, I can run weather glass far left to double its burn procs. Okay, then I'm very curious to hear your justification, Walter. Why would you run that? Because what I'm thinking is that now it looks like this, and this is faster. So hotspot matters here because it lets us move this off, right?
Waste of gun.
Yeah, I guess it. If this one is still going on the same time, yeah, I guess it is the same. Glass ICD. The main thing that I do like about this is that potentially it lets us put the crit on something that matters. Though I guess in reality we're just getting ready to cut Swashbuckle, huh? I do wonder what we're cutting Swashbuckle for. It'll be lighter plus something. We'll see if we find anything meaningful. It's always the part of the run where this build gets a bit weird because it's harder and harder to find like meaningful upgrades. Yeah, so each time glass goes off it gives 2 procs, but the glass is going at ICD and therefore the keg is charging its own ICD. That's true. The main thing that I was initially thinking about is the fact that doing it this way lets us potentially put in dive ways instead of the weather glass. But I guess we'll have to see. Most likely, neither ends up becoming actually relevant. Okay, this is interesting. So, if this is leftmost, it has 98 currently, which means that it will go above the cap. So I can actually replace these two with the iceberg. Which I do think, like, that makes sense, right? Like, yeah, we just want the iceberg here. And dock lines is the item that I'm probably... Well, I guess... I'm unsure what I'm supposed to sell here. There are a few options. And then we should probably go back to doing this. Yeah, you think the captain's wheel is the one that's never going in? That's very true. Like, we already have the holsters. And let's check for Clamra. '16 upgrade is interesting. I guess it'll have to be on thrusters, right? Like, thrusters is the only meaningful upgrade we can get here. Although I do guess holsters, giving longer haste to thrusters, also does matter a little bit, because with the thrusters going off, it's 2 additional procs that aren't affected by the ICD of the weather glass. What do you think, Walter? Would you go for thrusters or holsters here? There is also the iceberg angle, but I think iceberg is more there to be like a cute tech option than to be something that we actually care about compared to just going off faster. %4 here ends up being what, like 0.3? Yeah. We're thinking just thrusters. This makes sense.
You're worse at buying than Quixel is at selling.
Haha! Now this will inspire the crew.
It's a very marginal, like 0.2 seconds faster, but it matters. And the fact that we need less procs before the keg actually pops does also matter, a not entirely trivial amount. Oh, this is interesting though. Now we are being capped out by the fact that our first item has become too slow. That's fine though, that's easily fixed. Like, we just need to find the Clamra and then that doesn't matter. Oh, you wanted a replay? What were you curious about?
My lessons are painful.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Is there anything that this can matter for? Yeah, so the awkward thing was that the bolas go off at 3 seconds because it's only getting hasted for 2. And because it gets hasted at 3 seconds... that should still be correct, right? This goes off at 3 seconds. And then... this one gets hasted for the last 2 seconds and goes off at 2.4, right? 3.4? No, that's not right. Yeah. No, so yeah, we are being slowed down by the fact that we don't have the Clamra yet. And this would have sped it up slightly more, but this is better for when we find the Clamra.
When you are ready,
If we find the Clamra. That's very possible. Yeah, because the lighter itself is a proc anyways. Yeah. This is true. Good call, good call. And then Clamra doesn't actually matter, right? We can just get health. Is there anything that does matter in that case? Because now we're back to going as fast as possible. I don't think there's a purchase that can matter. That's not true. We still have to look for the Clamra because we can find the, like, injectors and stuff. And we have to hold this one because it's the potential way to speed this build up. Pop Snappers is never gonna matter. Because we need this one to have more multicast to be relevant, and this one to be diamond. I can't hold infinite. Octopus is interesting. Yeah, I'm watching, now it goes, and now the timing should be right. Ends up exactly, and there we go.
It's over already.
It's funny that we lose multicast when it goes. So we're currently not slowing at all, so slow doesn't make a lot of sense. So the main thing, right, is that dive weights in... Quick freeze. Great. Yeah, it's pretty tough. No, Olivia, they fixed Octopus. Octopus is back to 8 seconds. They saved it. It's redeemed. I can't think of anything from either of these two that matters here. No, okay, we go Slow More Lumbra, and we get the Slow Poison, Slow Burn, and we hedge on actually hitting Clamra, because that's anyways going to be the only possible way that we can speed up this further.
Magic. All is thought, churning slowly.
Same thing here, we're just looking for that one because it's the only one that can matter.
And that's okay.
My fight isn't with you, but if you insist.
Another ridiculous amount of health. This time with a fixer-upper, but it's a fairly small one. Oh, does he have... He has Lethargy. Lethargy is nasty. Thankfully, it didn't matter. And this was another good argument for the thrusters, is that having thrusters here means that into the Lethargy we're much better off. He would have one-shot us. So we would actually have died without the diamond thrusters, I believe. So yeah, here we get the injection, and we're barely going in time, and the first take kills him. Nice. It's kind of exactly how we drew it up. Pygmalion. Don't think there are Pygmalion items to care about. Bootstraps is funny. Does it ever matter? Do we ever go for it? These two upgrades do something to hit. So we need 32, which means that we're missing 19. This is 20. Yeah. I think I agree with Marie here that this is too expensive just because we only have 2 or 3 days at most on us to spend through like 200. and exactly our lighter is still at bronze, which means that it could eat a lot of the upgrades.
Come with no weapons, leave with
Okay,
bargain.
here's the camera.
Guided me to what you needed.
Now, here's the important question. Right now, I don't think Clamor is any faster than Lighter. So this is only if we get one of the slow, like, charge skills. Yeah, we can test it on PvE. And we definitely could end up in a scenario where this matters, so I'll bring it. Now the only other thing that could ever really matter is... So this one is on 17 seconds. Which means that to go faster than we are currently, which currently we're going at about, I think, 2.5 seconds. Which, including the haste, means that it would typically... It needs like 13, so it needs like 11 procs. And with Hotspot, this on its own is 8 procs, which we can get to go at 3 seconds, but that's not really any faster. So we'll have to see. I think Toxin Injector will be the reason why we can't get faster than that. Yeah, we are actually just now past this one. Oh, this doesn't even eat left eye. Though, to be fair, because we don't need left eye anymore, we can do this too. Still at 100. This is more crit. Shouldn't matter, but could matter. So we think this is slightly faster because we're just fishing one extra proc that's Weatherglass independent. No, Toxin Injector gains an extra target, not extra. Not extra, what you call it? Duration. Duration was the word I was looking for. A weapon, can buy us a skill. Dig 4 from Pearl. Obviously, there's the option of finding Icicle. So we could just cut Iceberg for Icicle. Do we think Iceberg is better than Icicle? Wait, actually, do we need holsters at all now? Now we don't need holsters anymore, right? So it's holsters out, Icicle in? Because yeah, with this setup, the first item doesn't matter. Or actually, the even faster option, right, is like, I don't know what this last slot is, it doesn't really matter, is that we have, yeah, we have lighter, icicle, like this.
That looks like the Cretaceous.
Yeah. And then at this point, I think this is what gives us the most procs the fastest, because lighter will go off twice, right? And these are only 2 poison items, so Toxin Injector doesn't matter there. This one's just filler. As fast as it gets. Everything is full crit. Nothing is blocking anything. This is some extra haste procs, just in case he has something. Yeah, Okay.
You should know, I'm a bit of a legend on Pelago.
My people.
We'll double check afterwards as well. It's entirely possible that something else goes off more times than lighter, which matters in case we go up against another opponent with lethargy.
Next time I'll show you what I learned from this.
So yeah, this one procs twice, which is the most, yeah. Icicle is like a big slow ride. Icicle slows 2 for 4, which I think is probably just the best. It's also more burn or poison like slow procs when we pump it. If we find that. Holster slows all small enemy items, which is also interesting, but I was thinking the same thing as Walter was, that this works against, you know, like fixer-upper and stuff, which is what I'd be more scared about. Yeah, like Maria agreed as well, like it just doesn't matter against Pygmalion, which we do care about. Get the X just in case, you never know.
I will dance with you.
Pendulum is an interesting one, because Pendulum lets us speed up the weather glass even further. We didn't get it, and we're crit capped, so obviously it's only detrimental. Oh, this is sad. So if we'd gotten... Oh no, it's fine. We can still get slow poison. Slow poison is the one we want. Yeah. And this potentially makes us faster, so it's just that one we're picking. We have 4 hits. Looks good. And we take 10 health. And let's see, we send it.
I may be young for a captain, but I've seen my share of storms.
It did have bonk, so it did end up mattering that we did all these extra steps and tried to speed it up. But he has no protection, so gone he is. Very nice. Like beating like Belt, Phonograph, Lion's Cane with crit and bonk is like, I would consider this to be one of the stronger like late game pig boards. And he had lethargy too. So our cooldowns are increased by 2 seconds. He has a cooldown hover on a really powerful item. But none of that really matters when you get into the nitty-gritty of kegging people. We'll watch it one more time just for the gratification of my other favorite item in the game. Burns, this starts going, and he's gone. He only got halfway through charging up his Lion's Cane. Very good. Okay.
I am the last daughter of House Corzina. My father lives through me.
It's one of the cooler things about keg boards in general too, is that you get all these options to tech in all these small little cars. Like you can run the thrusters and the icicles and the holsters and the clamra and just make something that goes really quick.